Hello everyone. Welcome back to John's Face blog. Thursday night leading into Friday. But the good thing about that is we're heading into the weekend. I was at Lindsay's today, my daughter Lindsay's, and she and my granddaughter Sky worked to get me a TikTok account up and running for the benefit of putting these videos onto a wider audience. As such, I was happy enough with the Facebook sort of home for them, but as Lindsay said to me, there are things that I talk about outside of music and art and it's mad adventures that would be sort of relative to the mental health issues and stuff that some people might actually get a little something out of that maybe would not sort of have a Facebook account or whatever, but they would maybe flick through TikTok or whatever. So I'm going to be a TikToker. My username, Lindsay's got a cracker one, and for hers, and Sky, she's got a cracker as well. So I didn't even think that long about it, because I think if you do think about things like that for too long, then you bollocks it up. But so basically, they said, what do you think you should be called? And I just went, John of Thrones. So that's it. And it was settled for, and it hadn't been taken miraculously or typically, or so if you see a TikTok video and it's got John of Thrones across the top, it's genuinely from me. So if you are a TikToker yourself, then you can follow, and I can follow you, and everything will be amicable and compatible. Well, and Lindsay, she got me that little Jack Skellington wristband. I love it, and I wear it everywhere anyway. So yeah, as far, by the way, before we go any further, does anybody else find it kind of like unfeasibly mild, for it being the end of November leading into the Christmas season, and sitting and because I haven't got my heat on or anything, and I'm sitting going, my goodness. And Lindsay actually had to open the window today as well, and it's not menopausal, on my point, from my point of view. It's just a Harbinson thing, I think. Harking back to the Viking Harbinsons, obviously if we're used to trundling along in ice and colder weather, looting and pillaging, then this milder weather would be sort of unappealing to us. I'd rather have it a little colder, to tell you the truth. But anyway, so I was thinking about what to say tonight, as I do every night, and then I always say, don't think about it, just say what comes into your head. But I couldn't actually help today but sort of think back to a couple of years ago, when we got the news, the very sad news that our good friend Steve Strange had passed away, and even for those of us who knew him pretty well, it was a shock, and for my friends here on Facebook and on TikTok maybe as well now. For people who know me, then Steve won't need any introduction. But for those of you who are of that wider audience, Steve Strange was a gentleman from Carrickfergus who was one of the guys, one of the team in the early days of us all getting together in bands and heavy rock, and trying to make it in different ways, and Steve went on to become quite possibly, definitely, actually not quite possibly, in the top 10 of major music agents in the world. And he looked after Coldplay, Snow Patrol, Queens of the Stone Age, Eminem, I think he even had a hand in Robbie Williams, but we'll come to that a little bit later on. But yeah, they're the sort of acts that you're talking about, Steve. Kind of arranging tours for. But I was thinking about the first time that I actually met him, and it hadn't been arranged. I was singing for a band called Testament at the time, and we were kind of ahead of our time. So everybody thought that we were the bee's knees sort of thing. In fact, we were playing in the Orpheus on the York Road on a Thursday night. Maybe going to be playing in front of maybe 40 or 50 people. That's all. I'm not saying that that's a big audience. I'm saying that that's the you were happy if you got that. And our bass player, Paul Heaney, the Heen came along with the black leather chap type things on with the ass cut out, big bare ass. And I think this is 1982 or 1983 or something. So it was like, holy God. but we were all, back then, I'm thinking back on it now, I'm going, for fuck's sake. But, back then, my hair was up here and, wearing stupid leopard skin things and whatever. But anyway, on this Thursday night, in came this wee guy. I'd never seen him before. Wasn't very tall. White motorbike jacket, always remember that, with fringes on the sleeves. And then he came, and real rusty red, wiry hair, sort of thing. And I went hello, and he this was before the band were this was even before the doors opened, and he came. So that it even showed you back then, right in the early days, the height of his ambitions, because he just and he came, and we were. I said hello, how are you doing? He says I'm Steve, and I saw you before when you played in Drumore or somewhere. It was some other smaller venue anyway, and he was there, and he never introduced himself, so he decided that he would this time anyway. Came along all decked out, and you think about it, this guy, a couple of years ago was phoning up, Rod Smallwood from Iron Maiden, and all the hierarchy of the top bands in the world. And back then, in 1983, he came in and he said, I haven't got any money, but I want to see the show. Is there something that I could do? Can I give you a hand with your gear? And we said, well, our gear's already in, so. But if you want to stay, listen, we're not going to throw you out because you can't afford. I can't remember what it was back then.